think you're at the wrong conference. So this is a trend. This is the third keynote in a row talking about AI. So good morning and thank you for joining me. I'm Poornima DeBolle, like the MC mentioned, with a fairly long title, but let's say I'm co-founder of Menlo Security. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and also the General Manager of our data security. In late 2022, unless you were under a rock, you learned how ChatGPT unleashed the race for generative AI race. Your organizations jumped in and embraced this new tool with enthusiasm. And you as the CISOs were rushing and needed to deal with how to protect your user and the data in this new world. Now we have a new paradigm called Agentic AI. And it's not just about adapting new technology. It's about redefining security in the age of autonomous systems. I don't think we have done this type of security before with this level of autonomous systems. So today we'll explore how the CISO, the role is evolving, and Agentic AI reshapes how organizations operate and defend themselves. Here's what, oops, I think we're, okay. Here's what we'll cover today. First, we'll set the stage with a concept called the frontier firm, organizations that are leading with AI. Then we will unpack what Agentic AI really means and where it's being deployed. Finally, we'll dive deep into how the CISO responsibilities expand across policy, data, identity, and infrastructure to secure this new landscape. Slides are advancing faster than me, so. Okay, I want to start off with a report from Microsoft that coins a new type of organization called the frontier firm. The frontier firm is structured around on-demand intelligence and powered by a hybrid team of humans plus agents. These companies scale rapidly. They operate with agility and create value faster. Companies that are fundamentally reimagining work with AI. Every organization, as you can see on the slide, is somewhere on its AI transformation journey. Maybe you're in phase 1, where you're working with AI assistants. Or maybe you're already in phase 3, where you're working with fully autonomous agent-operated workflows. And on the right-hand side, you can see why leaders are excited about this intelligence on tap. The workforce is overworked, and the option to use Agentic AI to augment and offload the workforce is very attractive. As AI agents enter the workforce, every employee becomes a manager, not just of people, but of digital colleagues. The challenge for leaders will be to find the right human-to-agent ratio. Too few agents, and you lose efficiency. Too many, and you risk chaos, poor oversight, and burnout. Striking the right balance will define operational success in the next few years. This shift means AI is no longer a tool. It is becoming part of the organizational structure itself. And then there is the Internet of Agents. devices, Nanda, and this is a project from MIT, autonomous agents are connected, learning, communicating, and executing tasks at scale. The Internet of Agents is not just going to impact the workforce, but change our economy and our society. It's going to transform the way we work, and potentially even a bigger impact than the Internet revolution that many of us have lived through. And that connectivity brings with it unprecedented opportunity and a whole new class of security threats. So having spoken about all of this, what is agentic AI? Agentic AI is a major shift in how we build and deploy intelligent systems. We're moving from an AI that just responds to an AI that can reason, plan, and act autonomously. These agents don't just answer questions. They pursue goals, they execute tasks, and continuously optimize outcomes across our environment. Powered by large language models and structured reasoning, agentic AI connects intelligence with action, enabling a true closed-loop automation. And because these agents are composable, they can be orchestrated together to manage complex workflows and scale seamlessly across the enterprise. In short, it's very exciting. This is how we operationalize intelligence. We're embedding reasoning and autonomy directly into our systems, not just our conversations. Agentic AI is rapidly moving from a concept into a competitive reality, and the funding landscape clearly reflects that. Investment in agentic AI startups scaled from $24 million in 2020 to nearly $4 billion in 2024. Deal volume has increased more than 20x in 4 years. That level of acceleration signals strong conviction that agents are not just another AI feature. They represent a new automation layer for both consumers and enterprises. Equally important, this is no longer just a startup movement. Every major technology player is now investing in AI agents as a strategic priority. Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are building agent platforms. NVIDIA is enabling agent orchestration in the enterprise. And OpenAI and Anthropic are pushing aggressively towards autonomous task execution. Even Apple and Meta have begun positioning agents at the core of their product roadmaps. The takeaway is clear. Agentic AI is now a platform race. Capital, talent, and ecosystem momentum are all shifting in this direction. The question is no longer if agentic AI will scale. It is who will define the dominant platform and go-to-market models. As we probably all know, early adoption of agentic AI is highly pragmatic. Adoption starts in customer-facing and revenue-focused functions. Customer service, marketing, sales, and product operations. These areas already run on structured workflows and measurable KPIs, making them a natural entry point for automation through what are called task-oriented agents. Adoption in this area is expected to grow from 5% to 40% in just 12 to 18 months. And then you 64% of business leaders planning Agentic AI initiative will probably start with one of their application providers that are already fulfilling a business need, bringing AI innovation to the platform. Or their LLM providers like Google, ChatGPT, and Anthropic. I think the slides are staying a little ahead of me. I don't know if it's a signal I should be speeding up. Okay, so this one is a screenshot from a Gartner report on the right-hand side. This is just projections, so take it with a grain of salt. By 2027, Agentic AI is projected to become the #1 newly deployed enterprise technology for customer experience. By 2028, 60% of IT operation tasks are expected to be automated using Agentic AI. By 2029, agents are forecast to resolve 80% of routine customer issues autonomously, driving a step function in efficiency and operating margin. And on this side, you see that there is some commercial validation too. Twilio announced in their earnings that they hit GAAP profitability ahead of schedule, which coming from a startup, I can tell you never happens, by embedding AI and automation into their core products. Salesforce has secured 8,000 Agentforce deals, generating about $100 million in ARR in year 1. And IBM delivered improved metrics across a host of important things like MTTR and alert volume at a large manufacturing company. And Agentic AI successes are also prevalent in some of the other areas, as you can see here. Singapore government's Ask Jamie program delivered 50% reduction in call center volume and 80% improvement in response time across more than 70 public agencies. In financial services, Bank of America's Erica has now handled 1 billion customer interactions and reduced call center volume by 17%. And in cybersecurity, Darktrace's cyber AI analyst now neutralizes about 92% of threats autonomously, responding in milliseconds. In all these cases, there were tangible benefits. So this is not a promise of someday. They're already in production, creating real competitive advantage. Okay, with all of that upbeat conversation about Agentic AI, here is a reality check. LLMs alone are not reliable agents. Across leading models, failure rates range from 39% to over 60% when they're asked to execute multi-step tasks autonomously. These failures aren't about hallucination. They're about breaking workflows, incorrect tool calls, abandoned tasks, looping behavior, and missing required steps. Even GPT-4 still fails nearly 4 out of 10 times in agent mode. So the takeaway is clear. Reliable agents won't come from better models alone. They require engineered guardrails and verification at every layer. Architecture, not model, will determine success. As soon as Agentic AI is able to act and not just chat, the attack surface expands dramatically. Traditional models were not built for autonomous systems that can make API calls run code, and trigger downstream actions. That is why security frameworks like OWASP, MITRE, and NIST are now being extended to include agentic AI risk. At the same time, specialized models are emerging, like Maestro, which introduces a 7-layer threat model for agent architectures. And at ATFAA, this maps attack paths unique to autonomous agents, such as tool misuse, memory poisoning, and prompt-based control. LLM security alone isn't enough. We now need a threat model purpose-built for agentic AI. As we have discussed so far, agentic AI introduces new security challenges that we did not have to deal with before. Non-human identities explode in volume. Enterprises may soon manage hundreds of thousands of AI agents with system access, drastically increasing the attack surface. LLM weaknesses become operational risks. Hallucinations, prompt poisoning, and data poisoning now lead to wrong actions, not just wrong answers. Autonomy increases the blast radius. Agents run at machine speed, so a single misconfigured or a compromised agent can spread errors and exfiltrate data in seconds. A few more threat dimensions that underscore the emergent risk. Agent-to-agent communication means agents can reinforce each other's mistakes, or worse, collude once compromised, amplifying impact. Access risk grows fast. Agents use tools, APIs, and credentials. Chaining or hierarchy of agents multiply privileges across systems, opening new paths for lateral movement and escalation. Observability is limited. Most organizations today can't see what an agent did, but most importantly, why. There may be no audit trail for the reasoning or tool calls. That makes it almost impossible to detect malicious behavior or even drift in real time. While there is more at every place in the architecture, these 6 are good starting points. So with that background, we look at what are the CISO's responsibilities as organizations deploy agentic AI. While this is not a comprehensive list, we have categorized responsibility across 6 fronts. AI-ready data, securing, training, and grounding data to prevent leakage and poisoning. Non-human identities, managing thousands of agent credentials and privileges. Access control, enforcing zero trust for agent tool use. Visibility and audit, gaining runtime insight into why an agent did what it did. Policy and compliance, aligning with emerging AI regulations and internal governance. And infrastructure, building guardrails, enforcement layers, and a safe execution environment. So agentic AI is not a feature. It is going to be a CISO mandate going forward. So let's look at each one of these at the next level of detail. AI introduces a fundamental shift. Data isn't just something we protect anymore. It drives AI behavior. That means the CISOs inherit new data security responsibilities. Beyond traditional approaches like data classification and data loss prevention, we must now secure training and grounding data to prevent leaks or model poisoning. prompt and content manipulation, where attackers can mislead agents using injected inputs, and hallucination feedback loops, where AI generates incorrect data that contaminates the system. To manage this, AI programs need sanitization, redaction, and policy enforcement at the data layer before the agents see or actually use the information. This is the most important aspect. If you get your data policy correct, all issues downstream will get easier. With agentic AI, identity risk now scales faster than any other category. Machine and agent identities already outnumber humans by 45-1, and projections show that it could surge up to 2,000-1 in large AI-driven organizations. That means the IAM now has to manage millions of credentials, API keys, tokens, and agent identities. So the CISOs now need a highly scalable identity system for agents, granular least privilege enforcement, continuous provisioning and revocation. So an agent doesn't maintain its privilege beyond when it needs to use it anymore. And then full session and session traceability and audit information. So identity is the new perimeter. Non-human identity is now the new identity crisis, and the CISOs have to get ahead of it. Access control has to be completely rethought for agentic AI. Traditional security like firewalls, VPN, zero trust, protects users and networks. But agents operate beyond these boundaries. Agents don't just log in. They call APIs. They launch workflows. And importantly, they can access multiple systems at once. They dynamically pull data from finance, HR, and cloud SaaS platforms, creating a cross-domain risk and exposure. Attackers now target every component of your AI stack, the LLM, the agent framework, and even the vector store and API keys. So access control must move from network edges to runtime enforcement and least privilege access for every API and tool. If we can't control what agents can access, we cannot control what they can break or leak. Visibility and audit has always been a CISO mandate. But agentic AI changes what visibility actually means. Traditional logging and SIM tools tell us what happened, but they don't tell us why it happened. And that is now a critical gap. With autonomous agents acting on behalf of users, we now face a visibility challenge across 3 dimensions. The first one is action transparency. Agents trigger actions, creating records, moving data, running scripts. But most AI platforms don't log tool calls or reasoning trails. If something goes wrong today, there's no forensic record to reconstruct agent activity. That makes incident response and accountability nearly impossible. Number 2 is behavior risk. Security isn't just about actions, it's about the intent drift. Agents can loop, misuse tools, ignore policies, and even be manipulated mid-session. We now need agent behavior analytics the same way we track user behavior analytics. governance regulations are now emerging globally. So the EU AI Act, the NIST AI RMF, and the ISO 42001, all of them require traceability, explainability, and oversight. CISOs will be held responsible for auditing AI decisions, not just system events. With agents, logging is not enough. We now need an end-to-end observability of what the agent saw, what it decided, and what actions it took, and why. Without that, the rush to adopt agentic AI might result in more pain than help. The next one is infrastructure. This is probably one of the biggest shifts in the CISO responsibility in the age of agentic AI. Traditional controls like cloud proxies, firewalls, network segmentation were designed to protect user-driven traffic. But agentic AI operates differently. They execute actions autonomously, chaining across APIs, SaaS systems, and cloud services, often outside the traditional visibility and enforcement layers. That creates a new requirement, AI-aware infrastructure security. To manage this, now the CISOs need something like the guardian agents, security agents that continuously patrol your AI environment. They monitor agent behavior, detect anomalies, and intervene when policies are violated and they need to be controlled. The second one is an MCP proxy, a new control layer that inspects AI agent traffic. It enforces policy on tool use and API calls and prevents abusive and risky actions. Agent-to-agent traffic inspection. As multi-agent systems grow, agents begin collaborating with each other, or they can even be manipulated. We now need to continuously test agent boundaries, inspect conversation between agents, and prevent pollution, data leakage, and escalation. Shadow agents, similar to Shadow IT and Shadow AI, will be in your organization, and the CISO needs to have a program on how to audit that. When what you're protecting is autonomous, your infrastructure needs to be active, not passive. This is no longer theoretical. Attackers are now targeting agent infrastructure. In this example, a malicious MCP server was published as a seemingly legitimate package. Teams installed it unknowingly, and once inside the enterprise, it quietly stole sensitive email data and password resets and other internal communications. No malware, no exploit, just an abuse of trust of your AI ecosystem. Traditional security tools did not detect it because it operated through legitimate agent traffic. The AI supply chain is already being weaponized, just like any other supply chain. We have to secure MCP traffic and verify agent components. The last category, and probably the most important one, is around governance. Responsible AI becomes a security requirement. We need clear approval frameworks for AI classification, risk classification, and impact level. Human-in-the-loop enforcement, like the previous speaker spoke, AI agents have to have human oversight. They cannot be allowed to push financial transactions or send outbound communications without human oversight. With all of that, let's look at what security leaders need to do not wait for perfect standards or future regulations. We need practical controls now. Here are 4 high-impact starting points for securing agentic AI without slowing down innovation. AI-ready data. Start at the source. Secure the data pipeline. Use data redaction and sanitization before the data is set to AI models. If data is clean, AI stays predictable. A secure enterprise browser. Users and agentic AI are interacting with systems via a browser. That makes the browser a critical enforcement layer. Use an enterprise browser to monitor agent actions, isolate risky sessions, and capture full audit information. Agentic AI security framework. Don't wait on policies. Define operational guidelines now. And last one is the external overlay controls. Because AI platforms move faster than your security vendor, implement control layers outside the model so you have kill switches and API rate limits so you always retain control. These 4 steps will give the CISO early control without slowing adoption in your enterprise. It's a safe path to acceleration. So the CISO of tomorrow is not just a security guardian. They are an orchestrator of trust across humans and machines. The job is to enable innovation without compromising integrity. As agentic AI evolves, the most successful organizations will be those that build security into the AI fabric rather than around it. Thank you. And this is our booth. At G08. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. DeBolle, for that sharing and, of course, providing us with valuable insights.